house was built in 1850 by Francis Porcher. It's actually called a Porcher-Simons home, but Francis Porcher built it, and he was a very astute businessman. Had a detail for, I'm sure, his business, but certainly his style of architecture and what he enjoyed in homes. Well, one interesting fact about the home is that back in the 1940s, there was a lot of naval buildup here in the Charleston area because of World War II. And they didn't have enough office space for all the naval officers and people moving down, military moving into the area. So the Navy rented this house for office space, and John F. Kennedy ended up having his office on this floor that we're on right now in the master bedroom. And we call it the John F. Kennedy room, or the Kennedy room.
When you get into a project like this, you typically don't know what you're getting into because it's so old. You do know that most of the structure, most of the facade, the details are more than likely going to be in bad shape. Discovering the railroad tracks solved a mystery in my mind. You had 10 feet of structure up there we knew was all brick. What's holding that up? And it turned out to be railroad tracks, 3 across the front with bluestone on top of that, and then brick on top of that. So it was interesting to see how they built things back in those days. Touch and go for a while there until we got the scaffolding up with the needle beams holding up all that structure. It's 80,000 pounds of brick. That's what the engineer figured. We had to put footings in at the ground level and put in structural scaffolding and then needle beams through the structure to hold it all up, and then remove the railroad tracks. So I'd say on any important historic preservation and renovation job, the owner is extremely important. He's got to be willing to take it as it comes, because as you can imagine, a 200-year-old home typically needs a lot of love and care. So I was lucky that this owner was willing to go the full route and renovate this home as it needed to be.
To find the right contractor is critical, because the house really and truly had had no work done to it since 1850 for all practical purposes. But the outside of the house, we had no idea what we were dealing with, or the structural issues of the house. We had no issues what we're dealing with. So we initially started with a real good paint job on the house, but we knew it was going to be more than painting. And as we got into it, it became much, much bigger than what anybody expected, certainly what I expected. But the significance of the house was so important. The confidence that we had in Morris Construction to put it back to its original state was too big an opportunity to pass up. So we, as we say, bit the bullet, and we did the house back like it was built back in 1850. Morris Construction had a project going on right behind our house on number 1 Water Street. And the scope of the project was to raise the house 8 feet. It was a brick home covered with stucco. And that house was raised without cracking any of the stucco, breaking any of the brick. And I just knew that any company could do this was all we needed to do, what we needed to do to our house here. I couldn't have been more pleased with the results that we've got.